Hello, beautiful souls. It's your girl, Dara, from Cups and Conversations, coming to you today with season 1, episode 4. We've been doing this thing since January, episode 4. And tonight we will be talking about it takes a village. It takes a village to do this thing called life. So all of us that are going through different things, are feeling alone, are feeling like, hey, I just need somebody to help me get out of my own head. Sometimes that's how we are. We just need somebody to help us get out of our own head. Sometimes we can think ourselves to death. So tonight, I have some phenomenal guests tonight. I call them Auntie. Now, this auntie was the auntie that helped me become strong in my family. Because you have people around you, when you see strong people, you just feel like they wake up like this. We don't. We have a phenomenal support system behind us that makes sure that they hold us accountable and challenge us to be our best. So this first auntie, her name is Tammy Tyler. Tammy, introduce yourself and tell us what's in your cup.
Hello, everyone. I am Tammy Tyler, and I have something in my cup to share tonight. My sharing tonight was be you. Don't look at anything else. Be you.
That's right. Be you. Regardless of what's going on in your life, make sure to be yourself. Nobody else can be you but you. Our next guest is my other Auntie Jamie Keith. Now, let me tell you about this one. When y'all see me on my business, that is the auntie that makes sure I stay on my business. She supports me through the things that I am working on. She is honest, so she will let you know if, honey, baby, we need to do that a little differently. So sometimes we need an auntie that's not afraid to tell you, tighten up. Auntie Jamie, introduce yourself and tell us what's in your cup.
Well, hello, sweetheart. My name is Jamie Keith, and I hail from Louisville, Kentucky, holding it down in the Ville. And what's in my cup is lemonade. So we're going to stay on this bright and yellow and bee theme. My cup says, you are badass and brilliant, and I want you to know that you are today. If life gives you lemons, add some sugar and make some lemonade.
Hey! Yes, ma'am. When life gives you lemons, make lemonade. That's the way to say it. So I am grateful for my aunties joining me on tonight. We have some great things to explain to you all when it comes to the village. If you have not already, like, subscribe, and bang that bell so you don't miss any content. So we are about to jump right into it. Thank you for tuning in tonight for Cups and Conversations. Grab your gals, grab your men friends, grab whoever you feel like you want to join you on tonight, because we are about to get started. Welcome to Cups and Conversations. So, ladies, we are going to talk about it takes a village. So, question number 1, before we jump into the game time, I just want to ask you all, what is a village to you? Auntie Jamie, what is a village to you? What does that even mean?
You know, I grew up in a really interesting time. We move so fast nowadays that it's difficult to probably create a village because we just don't give each other the kind of time we need to do that. But when I was growing up, you grew up in a neighborhood, and in the neighborhood, you had X amount of kids coming out of every house, and you learned how to play together. Whether there were good days, there might be a fight, literally, or there might just be a rainy day, and you got to figure out, what are we going to do? Today, they call it pivot. But back then, we just said, what else can we do? And you learn how to create together, and you learn each other's strengths. You learn each other's weaknesses. And more than anything, you learn that these are your people, good, bad, ugly, beautiful, whatever it is, these are your people because you're always with them. And to me, a village is not just the contemporaries or people that may be your peers that you're building these relationships and bonds and experiences with, but also the parents. And the parents are looking out for you just as much as they're looking out for their own child, because we all had a sense of neighborhood, community, family, and those types of things are built in us. for those of us that had that opportunity. If you didn't have that kind of opportunity, it's okay. You can build it now. You learn those skills as a child, and when you take them to school, you can learn from there and take them to work. You can learn from there and take it to church. You can learn from there and take it to the park. But it's just about being open enough to let someone in, and to also be open enough to share some of you to strengthen one another.
Auntie Tammy, what is a village to you? Explain to us what your village was or what it looked like. What is a village for those that may not know what a village is?
Well, growing up, I was the last of six in our family. So a village to me, I had a lot of play mamas, play daddies, play cousins that was down the street, and you like Jamie was saying, you knew everybody who was in your neighborhood. So with that being said, everybody was like a part of your village. They got after you, they told on you, they whooped your butt, but they held you accountable for what your parents instilled in you. So that made them a part of your village. And as I grew up, I became a part of other people's village to have that accountability with other people. So it just branched out more than just your blood. It was your neighborhood. It was your schools you went to. It was the people that was living down the street that you probably didn't know, but your parents grew up with them. So it was multi family.
Yes, ma'am. Well said. Well said. Because a lot of times people think that the village is just a family. And I know if you think back to generations and generations, it could have been perceived as that. But as times have changed and things have grown, we understand that we got a village at the church. We got a village at our job. We got a village, wherever we are, we can create that village. The biggest word in that is create. We have to create that village. And sometimes there can be some people that we think is a part of the village, and it turns out to maybe be a bad apple or some bad energy or whatnot in the end result. So has there been a time with you all that maybe you thought a person was a part of your village and then it turned out that they were not? Auntie Jamie?
I have had people like that in the village, but I wouldn't necessarily say that they don't belong in the village. Mm-hmm. Everyone in the village has a part to play. Mm-hmm. And some people need more than they give. Some people purposely take more than they give. And some people are still in a growing pattern that just doesn't match up to or catch up with where you might be. So we need to learn from those individuals as well. What I've learned is that sometimes we love people or put people close up, and we might need to scoot them back so that they are in the appropriate place. It's like anything else, when you're cooking on the stove, if the burner that you're using is really cooked something really well, you scoot it back on a burner that's not on to cool it off, and maybe move something else that needs to finish cooking in that one's place. So once you learn how to put people where they belong, there's room for everybody. You just have to know what you're working with.
Definitely. I definitely agree with that. There is room for everybody. Auntie Tammy?
Well, Jamie was really, she was put them in their right places. I learned the hard way on that because I got burned from people keeping people closer than they needed to be. So yes, they do have a proper place. And in that, you do incorporate those that you really want to, those maybe 5 that you really gravitate to and learn from, to be close in your village. You want them to be where you can be accountable for, where you can love on and bleed on, and let them know what really is going on in your life. As you build your village, you'll see who those people are. You got to make sure who is really supposed to be in your village. Those that are stronger in your village that you want to draw from, and those you can pour into, is very vital when you do allow them to be part of your village. As you know that other people are watching you, some are jealous, some don't need to be close to you, so you might want to distance them. So as you in business, as you're in your work situation, some may be jealous of the position you have and they want that for themselves. So making sure and being mindful of that. Like I said, I learned the hard way in life, some of those things. So making sure right now who you can really confide into, who you can talk to at work and at home, is really important with building your village.
Yes, ma'am. I totally agree when it comes to building that village because sometimes we walk in being very naive to some situations, and sometimes that can put us in some uncomfortable situations, should I say. So I can agree with that as well. So moving forward, we are about to start this game. Ladies, get your paddles ready because it is game time. We are back and it is game time. Ladies, do you have your paddles ready?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so I am going to ask some questions. Thumbs up if it's good for you, thumbs down if it's not good for you. Question one. Do you find it overwhelming sometimes when you take part in your village? Do you feel overwhelmed sometimes? Yes or no? Okay, so both people feel overwhelmed sometimes. What makes you overwhelmed at times, Aunt Tammy?
Well, for me, sometimes I overcommit or allow the village to take more than what I need on. I've taken on, and I don't always know how to back up. Sometimes you have to step back and let the village grow. So giving it the nutrients, giving it the advice you need, but then sometimes I can't let go. I come home and I let it continue to fester, and I'm worried that that didn't get solved or resolved, and I can't fix it all. So I tend to wear that on my sleeve.
Okay, Auntie Jamie, sometimes you grow overwhelmed. Talk about it.
Yes, and I'm too very much like Tammy. It's the same types of reasons, and what I've learned over the years, and I've practiced it quite a bit. But I wanted to be transparent and say yes, it can be overwhelming. Sometimes I have overcommitted in error, and it's even sometimes a matter of just juggling all the things that you have committed to do, the work that you know you do, and then finding some you time, or as we say,
Hey.
and that is where it gets overwhelming. So I used to throw myself in the fire and come back to me all the time. I will assure you, ladies, as I'm sure I'm a little bit more seasoned than both of you, don't do that. It is true. You cannot help anyone if you do not help yourself first. Even in the best of intentions, you're going to give slanted or half of who you are because you're not full yourself. So I've learned to step back. I don't care what it is. I realize I'm not a doctor, so I cannot obviously fix it for real. I'm not a lawyer, so I cannot bail you out. And I'm certainly not Jesus. I'm James.
Hey.
I've learned to scoot back, and everyone will figure it out because I've scooped back. They might even get upset. That's okay because, you know, sometimes when we're growing, it's not that comfortable, right?
Hey.
So they have to learn how to, what if I couldn't do it? Well, here's your moment. What you going to do?
Yeah. Good question. Good question. So with that being said, have y'all ever felt disconnected from your village? Has sometimes you feel like you were disconnected from your village or isolated, you know, with your village? Okay. Auntie Jamie, you said no. Okay. Auntie Tammy, you said yes. Let's talk about how you felt disconnected at some point in time with your village.
Well, sometimes I feel like I didn't let the village in when I needed the village. The village can come to me for a lot of things, but sometimes I haven't went to that village. So I seem to be carrying it all on my own and going crazy when I know I should reach out or reach up or call somebody and let them know what's going on. But, you know, you keep it to yourself, nobody's going to know and no one's going to help. So
I love that. I love that because a village is really twofold. You have the pouring out that we do to support others, but then you have the pouring in where the village is to support us and the things that we got going on. And sometimes we can find it difficult, like you just said, to receive the support. It's easy to give the support, but on the receiving end, sometimes that can be tough. Sometimes people are just real private about their own affairs and their own life that they don't want to share what's going on with them in the village, but they want to be the go-to person. I've seen that in a couple of villages that I'm involved in where sometimes the person wants to put it out there as if they don't have anything going on in their life that anybody can help them with. And I don't know if that really comes from a person just not feeling safe, or a person feeling like it shows weakness if they are normally the person in that village that is the strong one. Can either one of you all relate to sometimes being the strong one that you just don't want to appear weak?
It's funny you should say that. It's a good segue for me to respond. I do not ever feel disconnected from the village. And it used to be, in kind of relating to the first question, not allowing myself to scoot back, not allowing myself to be poured into because I'm so busy pouring out, not realizing that I'm at the bottom and we're giving trickles at this point. And then I realized that I'm going to have to allow myself to open up and be a recipient. So what I do know is that sometimes, and I do know both as sometimes being an elder as well as the experiences that I bring to the table and some of the knowledge that I do have, that oftentimes I am looked upon as the go-to person. And that's okay. I relish and I appreciate. I feel like it is an honor as well as an opportunity for me to keep sharpening, because iron sharpens iron, to keep sharpening this iron. But at the same time, it puts you in a position where I don't think it's so much as not wanting to look weak as it is if 99 people come to me and I'm 100, who do I go to? But what I found, and this is through prayer, ladies, that not just because you may be the elder some of the times, but also because you feel that because of the information that you have shared, you think people may or may not be able to answer things you have going on or just be there for you. It turns out that it's very reciprocal. There are oftentimes some of my younger village members that have been able to encourage and pour into me because they see something that I didn't even realize I was giving off, or they can just feel that I'm not on point as I would normally be. My game's off. So with that being said, I think that we need to recognize that we can't be all things to all people.
That's
you can
right.
be some things to everybody and be everything to one person, but you cannot be everything to everybody all the time. And when we give ourselves permission to be human, to be frail, to be even expendable, because I don't know anybody from BC that's still here, to be expendable, then we give ourselves permission to be poured into and to be loved on. The same love I give, I'd like to give back sometimes, and it's okay.
Good. I love that. I love that. So when we say thumbs up, thumbs down, that transparency in the village is important.
Yeah.
Thumbs up, thumbs down. Yeah. I would say that being transparent is definitely important in the village. Definitely. Thumbs up. Now, let's talk about the fact that in a village, because there's sometimes people feel like they don't have a village. So if you feel like you are a person, put ourselves in the shoes of a person that feels like they do not have a village. How can we direct them to a village? What tools can we give to help them figure out that they already have one, or how to go and link with one? Or do we just become their village? What would we say to a person that feels like they're alone in this world and they don't have a village? Auntie Tammy?
Be more open to look around to see your support. I know that one time I felt like I didn't. As I got older, I felt like, who am I to talk to? There a lot, you don't have as many friends around you. So you think, oh, well, do I have people that I can confide into? So making sure you look, if you have kids, look at those that are really in your kid circle too. They may be dealing with the same kind of issues. I have 2 kids that are with special needs. So I built a village within their schools and within their parents that was at their schools, because they were dealing with the same issues that I was dealing with. You can't do it all. So as Jamie was saying a minute ago, sometimes there's a quote that says, sometimes you carry that load well, but it doesn't mean that load is not heavy. You don't have to carry it all by yourself. So looking around for your teachers, your parents that are your siblings, your kids' parents, some of your siblings, reaching out to them. They might have experienced some of the things you're experiencing with in life. Your coworkers, if there's something that that you have went through that they may need to have poured into them, taking that time to establish that relationship so they know that they can trust you and that they can also be part of your village, but something that you can pour in and be transparent with them. And taking time to yourself, taking time in God's word to ask him, who else is in my life that I can benefit from? It's not always about who you know. It's not about who you are, but who you know. You know, sometimes it's the people that are in your neighborhood, people who are in your community, people who you go to church with. I know there's a few people that pour into me that they was dealing with their husband's issues. My husband had health issues with a transplant. Theirs was just elderly husbands, spouses, and they were dealing with different issues, but they became part of my village because we became to pray for one another. Same thing with those children that my daughter had a G-tube, and just not knowing really how to deal with all that, going back as a 2-year-old, teaching her how to suck from a bottle and eat from a spoon was something I was like, wow, that I had to face. And with that, there was other people that had G-tubes that never had hope to come off of that. And everybody may not, but it was a village, a community that we can talk to one another and say, that progress every step of the way, to have a village. And then spiritually, I have girlfriends that we hold each other accountable in the word to be mindful to take time for yourself in the midst of everything you're dealing with in life. So I have another cup here, and I wanted to share with that. And it says, just hand over the chocolate and no one gets hurt. Sometimes you gotta stop taking life so serious. The village, if we really just take time to take a breath and then come back full force. So don't take life so serious either.
I love it. I love it. Yes, I love that cup. I need you to send that to me. I like it. I need that. I need that. Yes. Auntie Jamie. Somebody feels like they don't have a village. What tools can you give a person that feels like they're alone in this world and I don't have a village? Talk to us.
First of all, I love that cup too. That is so cute. I feel very similar to the way Tammy feels. And I think sometimes when people say that they don't have anyone, it speaks more volumes than I think that they may realize. It says to me that you may not know how to socialize. It could be that you're isolating yourself because, another old saying is, if you want a friend, be a friend.
Hey,
so, you have to be willing to give. And we live in such a what's in it for me society. And, I got to get some mines, I don't know about you getting yours, that kind of mentality. Those things really do. When you have it ingrained in you over and over and over again, you will look at things from that angle, which is one of the reasons that, I feel like if people would find themselves, a spiritual center. I choose the Bible. I choose God, son named Jesus, because I know we say God generically, but that's the path I'm on and I'm staying on it. It's been working for me for a very long time. That you will find principles on how to live. And when you operate in those principles, then you will find also that just in the realm of being a spiritual being, having a physical experience or encounter, which is life, that you will be open to the people that are brought before you. If you work, you're going places where you're meeting people. Here's opportunities to build a village. If you're in school, you're going somewhere. Here's opportunities to build a village. If you're involved in any kind of activities, so some people only operate within their family unit, like their immediate nuclear family, and they don't really branch out. However, my mother used to say, you're suffering from a case of terminal uniqueness. You're not the only one. You are not experiencing or doing or being victimized by anything new. There are people that have had that happen already and can walk you through it. So, and sometimes, you might be the person that needs to share that with someone that's going through, but you'll never know if you don't open yourself up so that you can be that source or be, resuscitated yourself. So it's about taking a chance, but that's what it says to me. So I would advise that person the same thing I just said. If you want a friend, be a friend, and don't be afraid. There are going to be times where it feels like you may be giving more than you get. Give what you give. And when you're at your limit, slow it down, ask for wisdom in all dealings, including building your village.
Yes. Now, see what I'm talking about, y'all? That's what I'm saying when I say that I brought my aunties on the show tonight, right? When I say I brought my aunties on the show tonight, y'all are only getting a little bit of what I have been getting my whole life. But one thing I can definitely say is that when you have strong people, not just women, but strong people in your life, those strong people will allow you to be who you are, but they also make sure that you know that you can handle the life that God has given you, because God doesn't put more on you than you can bear. There is nothing going on in your life that is new. As they say, there's nothing new under the sun. So there is nothing new that you're going through that nobody else in the world has gone through. If there is something that you're going through, I can assure you that there is someone else out here that just came out of it, is in it right now, or just came or is going into it. So believe you me when I say that you are not the only one going through what you're going through, and that there is a village out here, a support system, some great people that will walk through those storms with you, hold the umbrella so that you don't get wet. But when it comes to the village, we also have to make sure that we are not enabling people, because sometimes in a village, we tend to enable instead of help. And those things are can be kind of walking on the same lines for some people. Sometimes it's very thin line to helping people and enabling people. So if so far you have liked what you have heard, I tell you to like, subscribe, and bang that bell so you don't miss the content. But we are going to open it up to the aunties, and let's talk about the enabling part. Because we can talk about all the good stuff about a village and how a village is to support, but that support comes in very different layers. In the time that we live in now, it's not as easy for some people to look at elders, because elders now are a little younger than they was back in the day, where your elder was 70, 80, 90 years old in the church, a deacon on the motherboard or whatever that elder looked like. Now you got elders that's 30, 40, 50, 60-year-olds that's considered elders when it comes to the wisdom that they hold, and not so much of the age of a person. So, Auntie Jamie, can you kind of talk about the difference nowadays in society when it comes to what's considered an elder and the fact of not enabling people? Support and enabling is two different things. Auntie Jamie?
Yes, it's so ironic you should ask that, because I literally, and had I kept talking, would have been late to this, but I was having a conversation after service today with a couple of young ladies, and they're part of my village. I'm in their village, and we were having a village people moment. And in that conversation, one of them was dealing with something within her family unit that has been giving her a great deal of discomfort. And, you know, I could have been what, God rest her soul, my former pastor used to say, a get along, go along person. Like, co-sign it because of my love for her. The other person's all out of order and they need to get themselves together and wait it out. What I told her instead was what I know is a more circumspect view. And I told her this too. And I said, "Ooh, y'all write this down. That's probably going to be a t-shirt." You know, it's about this, us really wanting to live a Christ-like life. You know, the disciples asked Jesus, "How many times do I forgive a person? A person 7 times?" And Jesus said, "Well, why don't you try 7 times 70? Well, you know, that's about 500 times, 490 to be exact. But it wasn't about the number being so big as it was Jesus talking about over and over and over again. And when we learn how to forgive people, it's not about saying that what you're doing is okay. It's about being patient. It's about accepting people where they are. It's like if you're in front of a dog that bites and it bit you once, so you can forgive the dog, but don't stand in front of it to be bitten again.
Right.
Any more than you would any other kind of thing, you know, that you don't want to be harmed by. And so that's something I would advise that person. But also when it comes to elders, because I know that I'm in that zone and have been for a little while, I think that when it comes to wanting to be Christ-like, it's not about the amount of time that you spend in church or spend immersed in the word. It's about the state of mind that you are in. Do I want to, what I'm reading, what I'm being taught, what I'm learning, the songs I sing, do I want to live that way or not? Because you can play like all day. Show up, be the first one in, the last one out, sign up for everything at church and look fabulous. But deep down, what is your heart condition? Why are you motivated to do those things? Are you doing it because you want to be seen and glorified? Are you doing it? And Jesus talked about that. Or are you doing it because this is a genuine love and therefore I just can't get enough? It's two very different mindsets. And so as it is with being the person that's a go-to person, it's about the things that are in your state of mind, your stability, your credibility. Can you back up what you're saying? Have you shown that even, we all fall down and get up, but how many skin knees do you have? How many times have you been able to get up? And are you walking straight, showing that you've been able to recuperate fully? Or are you, walking with a super limp? Like you might still be working on that a little bit. So those are the things that we need to look at when we are choosing who we want to be advised by. Okay. We also need to be careful about that within ourselves. Don't ask me to help you with something that I'm still struggling with, because I'm still struggling. But what I can do is you and me can come together and be accountability partners and help other to do better. But don't think that I'm in a better place than you, because quite frankly, I'm not. And that's something, that's transparency, which you mentioned earlier. And we have to be willing to be that. That's part of being the village, because that's what builds trust when you show your war wounds. You know what I mean? Because if you look like it's perfect all the time, then it's intimidating to people because they feel like you're going to put me down because you got it together all the time. And so therefore you may have very little patience for my imperfections, or you're pretentious. I know something's wrong here. And you just do a really good job of hiding it. And so either way, it's a turnoff. So you want to be able to balance the way that you walk so people can see your strides, your victories, the times that you've had to struggle, but the times that you've overcome. And even in the meantime, between the struggle and the victory, how you were able to sustain in between.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I hope y'all caught that, because that was some amazing information. Auntie Tammy, do you got some amazing information you want to tell people in regards to enabling and the elders? I mean, have you ever had an experience with your elders where you thought you confide in them and then you found out you couldn't confide in them, or however that goes for you? What does that look like, Auntie Tammy?
Yes, I'm gonna give Jamie her props. She just like dropped the mic on
Didn't she, honey? And then I'm asking you to pick it back up. Now, see, let me see. Oh, what we got?
All right. So with me, of course, my life was a little bit different. I learned elders and I respected them. So I was raped at 16, and I was bleeding on the wrong people. So some that really loved and cared for me pulled me aside and told me, you don't need to share that with everybody. So I learned that the hard way. But even though I was able to release some of the things that I thought that I needed other elders to help me with that. And those that did, they took me and they told me their life story. So they did not become they didn't forget where they came from. Some just, they're so holy, and so nothing ever happened to them. And it was just like, okay, well, maybe I'm just going through all these storms and nothing has ever happened to them. But to come find out, life had happened to them, but it's okay. They weren't really probably able to share their story. But in that, I have found elders, and I don't think I'm an elder yet, but I may be to somebody. But with that, the respect and the wisdom that I had from that, they telling me, because I didn't have the right, my mom was gone. So at this time, I really didn't know who to confide into. And with that, I remember just having them come along and do life with me. That the ones that did share their stories, some was raped, some had children out of wedlock. And it wasn't a shameful thing as much as I assumed it in the way that I received it. So as now my elders, to call them by their name, or to just call them like, hey, Jamie, if she's my elder, I would call her Miss Keith, or I would say Miss Jamie. just out of respect of how you was brought and what was instilled in you. So we just need to don't forget about those things. Yes, everybody may not be want to address as miss or ma'am and things, but remember where you came from and give that respect, because really they have lived through a lot. If you think about the ages and the sacrifices they put forth for we can do different things that we weren't able to do. They weren't able to do at our age. So just remembering those things and watching their life as they succeed. There's so many people willing to help you succeed. And then an enabler. Oh my goodness. Sometimes I want to just take your issue and run with it and fix it for you and all of that. But I got to remember that if you don't learn the lesson in the issue, you might repeat the issue.
Yes.
And I'm not the fix all from it. So I got to let you go through it, even as painful as it may be. I got to let you learn and let your brain work to figure it out some too. And just step back and through the wisdom and discernment that you do, that's how it gets solved. I can't just fix it all because that's in my nature. I just want to go pick it up, but I got to be me. And I got to remember that in that, I have to let you be you, but we need to find those that have that conversation with us that are going to give us the feedback, the true understanding, the true answers, and not just go along with everything we say, because those are not going to really help us learn for ourselves. So be you as you go through your situations. Understand that I need some more wisdom. I need some discernment. It's critiquing. It's not necessarily always putting you down. Don't wear your feelings on your shoulders, because that enables you too, because you're not really receiving what the information is that you're seeking for. So you're going to keep on until you become hard-headed like I was in my life. So with that, you're not really going to get the true answer. And that wall needs to be broken down. You need to really seek God in that wisdom and let him able the people around you. So therefore, you're not an enabler. And Tammy don't have to fix everything.
I love it. Yes, I love your transparency in that, because that is true, especially me being 38, right? Me being 38, I have people that are my age. I have people that are older than me and younger than me that still call me Miss D. And I'm like, you're 60 and you call me Miss D, but it's a level of respect that they have for me, and I appreciate that. But I do love your transparency, because there are women that have been raped. There are women that don't have their mother figure, or their mother is alive, but maybe they don't have their relationship with their mother, or boys the same. Their father is alive and living, but they don't have that relationship with them. And sometimes it is hard to talk about the things that are going on in your life. But that's what makes a person, when they do come to you, feel like you are real. Because sometimes with the line that you said, that sometimes people do come off holier than thou, and everything is Jesus, 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 Jesus. And that's when you don't know who they are. But then when you get to know them, and then you see that they're not as holy as they put off, then that can enable you or stagnate your growth. And I'm saying that because, yes, I was raised in the church. I'm a Christian too. But there are people out here that are not Christians. And when they come, sometimes we can detour a person when we are feeding them so much word, because they don't even understand what you're talking about. And sometimes when we feed them that and they don't even understand what you're talking about, you've already lost them. Mm-hmm. So a lot of times you have to really make yourself plain and make yourself vulnerable in some situations, so that you can relate to a person on their level, and not on the level that you hoping that they will be on, but where they really are, because everyone has room to grow. And yes, we're going to see the best in everybody. But in some points when people come, they're not at their best, and they can't see what you see, and they can't believe in what you're telling them it's going to be, because they're stuck in the now. They're stuck in the right now. I feel broken. Right now, I feel like I'm alone. Right now, I feel like I don't have anyone to talk to or can help me get through what I'm going through, get through my brokenness. And that on another hand takes the village. Sometimes it takes that strong person in the village. Like for me, when I was growing up, the mothers of the church was 60, 70, 80, and some of them just had a stank face. Some of them, their face just looks so stank and they look so mean. And I'm like, I can't talk to her. She looks like she mean. She probably gonna give me a whooping if I tell her my truth. You know, because back then you could get whoopings from anybody.
Right.
Back then, anybody can give you a whooping if they see you misbehaving, honey. Somebody down the block see you misbehaving, you getting a whooping. Then they bring you home and you getting another whooping. So times was different then. But I say all of that to say this, that sometimes it's not a cushiony conversation from your village. Sometimes you don't get that sweet, gentle conversation from your village, but it's necessary. Go ahead, Auntie Tammy.
No, you're right. That's sometimes we got to take that and put our big girl panties on and just deal with it. We're not able to get past that until we really see what the tough love is taking us through.
Yes, tough love. Go ahead, Auntie Jamie.
I was going to say that in talking about tough love, one of the things I want to mention that I didn't really expound on too much, when we're talking about tough love or not being an enabler, I think really it's really important is something that, and these quotes that I give you that are from my mom, some she's gotten from her elders and shared with me, and they're priceless. One of them is you can tell anybody anything if you tell them with love. And with that being said, sometimes we just need to call a spade a spade. You know, like I said, you know, the get along, go along train, I can't ride that because it'll set you up and slide you down to where someone is and they're trying to come out. So what we want to do, and what I've learned to do a lot of times, especially as I've talked to people, that you can tell sometimes when people want you to co-sign rather than tell them what time it is. I go on and let them finish the whole shebang. And when they're done, I flip it back on them and ask them, what is it you're really sharing this with me for? Because I want them to admit they're looking for somebody to co-sign. And then that's when I let them know I can't co-sign, and here's why. And so instead of it just being a person, I will make it personal, why I personally don't agree, but I also will go to a scripture or something that is referenced in our norms or our culture or what have you, to add a little credence behind it. And I don't like to just leave people with, oh, you out of order, you need to fix that, because that's not what you do. That's not helping, that's hurting. But what I do tell people is whatever the situation is, without getting into details, what I can use today's example. As a matter of fact, when I was talking to one of the young ladies earlier, there's an internal issue going on. And I explained to her, you're looking for someone to do something different, but have you stopped to flip the script and think about the energy that you're omitting, maybe being a prevention as to why they're not doing it? Because, you know, instead of you talking about how they need to correct or self-correct, what are you giving them that makes them cower from wanting to even deal with you? Because, you know, you're telling me what that person needs to do. How about instead of I'm going to try, and I'm half quoting the person, I'm going to try to ... I said, let's do this, because that the way that it was quoted was contingent on the other person's behavior. And I just want to the example Jesus gave, when you're going to forgive, forgive. And I had to flat out tell her, you're bringing up again something we've discussed, and you have not forgiven them. You just haven't. Let's just be honest. You have not. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to repeat it so freshly. So first of all, let's get there. Let's actually forgive them. Because when you don't forgive a person, you're locked in the same prison with them.
Yes.
You know, you're locking them in your private prison as to why you're going to be mentally, emotionally, or verbally, or behaviorally abusive. But you're also locking you in there, because that means you got to still behave that way. It takes a lot of energy and it's negative. So why don't you, instead of what you're going to try to do based on what you want that person to do or be, you take responsibility. Instead of saying I try, which my mother used to say, to try is to fail. Why don't you say I am going to treat this person this way? And therefore, there's no accountability on their end. It's all about what you're going to do for you. Let God do what's over your pay grade. Let God fix whatever is a deficit with them, because you cannot change anybody. You can barely change
That's right.
yourself.
That's
So
right.
don't worry about changing another person, but free you up.
Hey.
And the reason that it's important to let people know that is because, and I tell people this all the time in different circumstances. I'm not saying this to beat you up, beat you down, or keep you down. I'm saying it to lift you up and let you
Yes.
know that just like you can have the power to feel and do what you're currently doing, you have the power to feel and do what you could also be doing instead of.
Yes.
You can
Yes.
change whenever you're ready. I know we don't want to let it go because, the little attitude gets comfortable. Let's just be honest.
It does.
However, if you want a different circumstance, you have
Yes.
to make a move. You have to make a move. Don't worry about the other person. You make a move and watch God do the rest. So let me get off the soapbox.
Hey, listen. When I say that this is phenomenal, because every elder has an elder, has an elder. As Auntie Jamie was saying, she's got quotes from her mama, who probably got it from her mama, who got it from her mama, who got it from a lady at the church. So I'm just saying that the wisdom that is trickled down to us is still good. No matter how old, how many generations it goes back, it's still good. It may not sound good to us, but it is definitely good for us. So please like, subscribe, and bang that bell if you feel like you now have a village within the people that are on this guest, the guest that's on this show. Because the guests on this show are mighty and they will hold you accountable, but they will give you so much love and so much support. And if there are other people in your life that you feel like give you those same things and you just have not recognized that they are your tribe, they are your support, I believe you need to give them a call or a text and let them know, hey, I need to spend some more time with you. The last conversation that we had helped me in so many ways once I put it to action. So, thank you, ladies. We are going to move on to what's the meme mean. Now tell me what the meme means.
What the meme mean? What the meme mean?
All right, ladies. So when you look at that meme, what does that meme say to you in regards to a village? Auntie Tammy?
All right. So for me, it says to me that you need to have a village. And if not, one or two people that you can confide in, dealing with life, whether it's a loss of a loved one, if it's grief that you're going through, or even an illness. I needed someone for me because it was a lot mentally for myself. I know a lot of times right now, I think that's what our youth and young adults deal with right now, of suicide and not really having the village for them. That's why they don't know how to deal with life when anything changes, whether it is one of their friends leaving this world, or suicide themselves that they're facing with another friend, or a loss of a job. They don't know how to bounce back because they don't have that village established, or that close friendship to where they can confide in someone else or deal with depression or stress. So it's very needed for those life situations that we go through. And just remembering the battle is not ours, it's the Lord's. So if we have a prayer life, we need to pray more, during those times to get us through. God knows and sees everything. Nothing takes him by surprise. So that village should include God in all of it.
Amen. Amen.
Auntie Jamie, what does that meme mean to you?
What I liked about the meme is that in the beginning it said your village, whether big or small. Sometimes it might be a village of two. And the only thing that I would say is a setback for a village of two is that if both of you fall, or one is down and one is out, then you're in a crisis mode. So I would encourage a very small village to think of the other people that are subsets of you that you can bring into one another's lives, which is something that I've enjoyed doing. You know, I have friends that I've cross filtered, if you will, that have developed their own relationships and or at least have a sense of camaraderie and familiarity with each other. I might be that common thread, but these other peoples know each other and of each other's support and love one another when they're in each other's company or whatever they can do to support each other. But, you know, we all need somebody. We're not the species that was created out of thin air. We were produced because a man and a woman came together at some point and created us. And so, because we are made, and God even said it's not good for man to dwell alone and created woman, we are designed to be interdependent. We are designed to give God's love. If you don't have anybody, then you can't give that love. And unfortunately, if you don't have anybody, you can't receive that love. We need both. That's being interdependent. That's being in a full circle of, and that's what makes the world go around at the end of the day. So we need to charge ourselves with understanding that no man is an island, including me. And you know, on my cup, one end of it says, and I do love this mug was given to me by a friend. It does say badass and brilliant. It also says boss lady. And I'm reading this for a reason. It says you have that independent, get up and make it happen kind of vibe. I love that about me, and I think it's true. And so did the person that gave it to me. But at the same time, when we're independent, there are things that we are charged to do, that we must do. That's being independent. But it doesn't erase the fact that we still need people. So don't ever put yourself in a situation or a mindset where you think that you don't need anybody, because that's going to be the beginning of a horrible fall, because you're missing out on the opportunity to give love, like I mentioned earlier, and even more so to receive love. So just remember that, because that's what it's for, to share and celebrate good times, and to also have someone there to understand. Sometimes, you know, you go through losses. I remember when my mother passed away. As a matter of fact, your mother, Dara, came to my home. All we did, well, I didn't even get out of the bed because I was just I was in such a disarray. But my husband opened the door, let her in. She took off her big, fat, beautiful church hat, spoke to me, went into Imani's room, ran a bath, got Imani bathed, did her hair, got her dressed, and then went and put her hat back on and said, "I'll be back, baby." You know, as her phrase, "How you doing, baby?"
Yeah.
And that's all she did. She didn't say anything to me because there was nothing that she needed to say. Her actions took care of it all. There are times where people have sat beside me, and I've done the same. I'm sure you can attest to that. I don't have to say anything. I just need to be present. My energy
Yes.
enough, because me and
Yes.
this person have been through enough stuff. They just need to know I'm here. They need to see me. I had a girlfriend who was feeling really sick, and then on top of that, her sister passed with cancer. She had been ill, but it was still sudden. She was expecting a little more time, and she had just recently met this sister, so that just made it worse. So I felt her anguish, and she had a lot going on, and so she couldn't get off the life's merry-go-round because of work and other things. But I went to her home, and I said, and I was on the phone with her. She didn't know I was riding up on her house.
That's
I said,
right.
"Y'all got to lay eyes on me. I need to
That's
see
right. I know
you.
what you need.
I just need to see you. I ain't got to spend no time." She said, "I'm ready to go somewhere." I said, "I don't care." And I pulled right up in front of her in the driveway because she wasn't thinking I was that close. I said, "I don't want nothing. I don't need nothing. Don't get out of your car. I just need to see you for myself.
Yeah.
I need to see me see you."
Yes.
Because
Yes.
sometimes it's really that simple. We
Yes.
just need people to see us, that we are
Yes.
important, we matter, and you got the backup. That's all you need. And she went on about her day. And she talked about that 3 days later, because someone that she thought would have done that and been there, that, you know, her ride or die from years before she met me, didn't do any of that. And that, and I was the only one that did what I did. But, you know, you don't know who God's going to send, when he's
Yes.
going to send them, how he's going to send them, and what he's going to do with them for you. So don't discount anybody. People that you think aren't good enough or close enough, or they wouldn't understand. Those are some of the best friends in layaway
Yes.
you ever tried. And you need to take the time. You need to take the time and just learn people and let them be who they are and let you be who you are.
Yes, I totally agree. Totally agree. Because I have people in my tribe. Just the other day, one woman in my tribe that I call sister, though she's not my blood sister, she is my sister. You hear me? And she showed up in my life at a time that she didn't even know I needed her. And ever since she showed, and it's crazy because she showed up through my best friend. That's my best friend's sister. She showed up, and I was like, look, I thought I was just me. I thought God was shining light on me and giving me so much when he gave me my best friend. But I think he my best friend, and she got 5, 6 sisters. So now I'm a honorary Roger sister, you know. So, but they show up, and they show up right on time for me. And it's like, just when you think you know what you needed and you're grateful for what God has already done. And then you like, oh, wow, God, you love me that much that you gave me 5, 6 more sisters. I appreciate it, you know, because I have my biological sister and she is phenomenal. But when God comes and he's like, I gave you some more just in case.
Yeah.
Because there's going to be times where your biological sister is busy. You know, there's going to be times where your best friend is busy. There's going to be times, you know, but I got others lined up because I know you're going to need it. I know you're going to need somebody to see you. They're going to need somebody to call you and pray for you or just show up in silence with you. Mm-hmm. Those are important. And then all of them see something different in you and show up in their own unique ways, you know, and that's amazing to have that level of love from different people that weren't your biological family. So welcome in those people that want to love on you. I tell people all the time, stop worrying about those that don't show up.
Right.
Worry about those that do. Mm-hmm. Sometimes we put way too much energy on the people that's not there. Yes, guess what? They had a choice. Yep. You know, life be life, and then sometimes people can't make certain things. But then there are times that people are available and they choose not to be. Mm-hmm. And whatever that looks like for the village, just like Auntie Jamie just said, you know, she's the woman had other friends that's been her way longer than you. But it's not about time, it's about quality. Mm-hmm. And that's what I have learned, that it is not about how long you've known a person, because there's people we've been knowing since kindergarten, elementary, middle school. But just because you've been knowing them that long doesn't mean the quality of the relationship is compared to another relationship that you may have only had a few years. It's based off of what we're putting into those relationships, what we're putting into those villages so that we can get something back. What are we depositing to get a return?
And that's a word all by itself.
Hey.
Because what you put in is what you get out.
Yeah. Yeah. So I love it. I'm grateful. We are going to go to the challenge because y'all just set me up to go ahead and go to the challenge. So here is the challenge. I challenge everyone that is watching, along with my aunties, that starting over is hard. Dealing with life can be challenging. Dealing with grief, dealing with being overwhelmed, dealing with life, it can be challenging. But just like my aunties both have said, that it is necessary, a very intricate part to have a support system. So I challenge you all that when things get hard, when you feel alone, when you feel like you have no direction towards the light, I challenge you to reach out to your support system. Sometimes people don't even know what you're going through. They don't even know what's happening in your life to be able to come to your rescue or come and support you or just sit with you. So a lot of times we assume that people know what we're going through, and they don't. They don't. So I challenge you to definitely reach out to the last person that was nice to you or the last person that listened to you and that you felt comfortable with. And that's the person that can be the first person that is a part of your village if you do not have one. And if you do have a village, reach out to those people and just say, thank you. Thank you for being a part of my village, because the strongest person in your village still needs to be appreciated and still needs to know that they have a village that when they're running on it can pour back into them. So if you are a person that accepts this challenge, put thumbs up in the comments. And if you are a person that's just not ready or just can't seem to realize that you do have a village, you can put a thumbs down for now. But in turn and in time, you will find your village. Now, we are going to allow my aunties to come back on and give their final pours, because they've been amazing, y'all. Put that in the comments how amazing that they have been tonight. And you can also put in the comments the things that you feel like are takeaway points for you on your journey and where you are and where you hope to be and the work you're planning on putting in to get there. So I'm going to bring my aunties back on. Auntie Jamie, I'm going to bring you on so that you can give your final pours to the world.
You know, my final pour to you would be very similar to what Dara has said. I challenge you not only to recognize your village, because you have one that you're either choosing not to use. And for that, ask yourself why. You may have some very valid reasons. And if they are valid, meaning that you have really thought about it as objectively as you can, then seek out an opportune moment to connect with someone, because you can't have a village of two, and let it grow from there. Secondly, I would also suggest that when you are a member of a village, that you not only look for moments to be poured into, but look for moments for you to pour out. Sometimes it is in giving that we receive, because in some circles, in order to keep it, you got to give it away. That's the same thing as iron sharpens iron. And so it's about give and take every day. Life gives us things that we like sometimes and we relish in them. And sometimes we don't even want to share it. But there are times when life gives us things that we just can't tolerate and that we want to get rid of. So in able to help you discern between the two of those things, because you can't have too much of a good thing. Or maybe you are in a position where you're just suffering needlessly or living beneath your privilege as a believer. You want to connect yourself with the village and let people pour into you that will help you catapult yourself back to where you know you were before those moments that life was life. And if nothing else, some things are unavoidable. Some people you just have to deal with. There are things that may or may not change. There are people that may or may not change. But one thing you can change anytime you're ready and every time you want to is you. Yes. So just be prepared to do the work. You got to do your part too. Do the work and be blessed in all you say and do.
I love it. Thank you for those final pours, because that is definitely important, to do the work on you. We cannot change the people around us, but we can allow them to see the work that we are doing that maybe will make them want to change or make them want to do the work on themselves. Auntie Tammy, your final pours.
All right. This has been a great session for Cups and Conversation. So I want to challenge you too to be a good listener. As you're talking and having conversation and just going about life, listen. What things do you have in common that person may be dealing with? So I'm dealing with midlife crisis stuff. I'm dealing with some situations where I'm like, woo, I get these hot flashes and things. So I know others are going through those things. Whatever conversations you are having, make sure you're listening, because somebody else, you might be able to pour into them before they can pour into you. And that can start your village. Be open to have a village. A lot of times we got to just take off our mask and be transparent and let others see who we really are, to be able to see if that is the person for our village. Take the challenge. Go ahead and look. We are better together. So remember that we are better together. If you are in my village, my designer bags under my eyes are designer. So I'm praying for my people. I stay up late hours, and that's what the village is for. There's gonna be people in your village that want to help you better all along the way, ups and downs, hills and valleys that we go through. So be looking and listening for those that are gonna be in your village. And I can't wait to see you on the other side of a healthy relationship and be able to prosper and be a better village for someone else.
Thank you, my aunties. Thank you, my aunties. I couldn't ask for anyone better to come on Cups and Conversations and explain the village. And these are just what we believe the village is. And this is how the village has shown up in our lives. I'm sure many of you watching have totally different perspectives of what a village is and how a village has showed up or has not shown up for you. But I am grateful for these two women that came on tonight being vulnerable and transparent and giving you some tools and tips to help you along the way when it comes to a village. Though the journey is personal, we do not have to do it alone. Thank you so much for tuning in with us tonight on Cups and Conversation, where no cup runs empty because we are always pouring. Thank you, because we are the perfect blend. Tune in for the next episode, and we will talk to you later, my beautiful souls. Here's to Cups and Conversations.